Hello, good evening, surprise, and welcome back to In the Know, brought to you by the Racing Post and Coral, as we are one day down for the York Ebor meeting. The heavens have opened around the country. Chaos has been up and down the transport network as well, but somehow, only a day late, I've managed to find my way to the studio. So if you enjoyed the wonderful off-the-bench Divock Origi-esque presenting from Sam Hart yesterday, right bang in the top corner with 20 minutes notice, then I apologise. It's me again. But lovely to be here. I not only the racing, but taking up train spotting, as you've seen by that little tag at the bottom, in my spare time. Luckily, I made it to watch the action at York today, though, and what action we had. Of course, Baaeed has almost got boring to talk about over the season, running over a mile and beating lesser animals, but he certainly wasn't boring today. He absolutely mullered Mishriff in the International, and that was a proper performance, rather begging the question what he's been doing over a mile all season. But we'll be talking to our panel about that, of course, and we also had some pretty exciting stuff elsewhere. Chaldean, Baaeed might not quite be as good as Frankel, but his bloodlines live on with the Aiken winner this afternoon, and there was exciting stuff elsewhere as well. We'll be asking our panel what the best bits were and what the best bets for tomorrow are as well. Thank you for joining us. If you are watching at home, it is live and interactive, of course, on YouTube. Do like that stream and subscribe as well if you haven't already, and get involved in the chat box. I can see you out all there. I was talking to you all last night on the chat box. I was sat for 3.5 hours at Peterborough Station, and you think that would have led me to back 15-2 winner Peterborough at Worcester this afternoon, but it's almost too coincidental, wasn't it? So whether you've had a few winners today, or you've still got 3 more days to back a few on the Knavesmire, and given that the prices they normally go in, you don't need too many either. So thanks for joining us again. We are ready to rock and roll, and it's not only Sam Hart that's been unceremoniously thrown from the studio. Paul Kealy has pulled rank and told Robbie Wilders, get out of my seat as well. So
I'd rather sack myself rather than come on here, to be honest.
We can get Robbie back in if you want. He'll only be at the gym.
Yeah, that's right. In the gym?
He'll be in the gym.
Oh, he's sacked already then. I'm not allowing that.
Yeah. Do you know what a gym is?
I know a couple of people called Jim.
Fair enough. Keels, lovely to see you.
Yeah.
How you doing? You all right?
Yeah, great day's racing today, wasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely was.
I thoroughly enjoyed it, apart from the results.
Apart from the results, you've done your usual festival.
Usual festival, loads of places. You know, loads of hit the bars. Got a few things wrong. Got one thing badly wrong, obviously, with the wonderful Baaeed, who was incredibly good. The comparisons with Frankel were ludicrous while he was over a mile. They've become more realistic now after that performance. That was really, really, really good. You know, all the talk about, he only just does enough. I mean, I always thought that was nonsense. All right? It's just, but, it turns out he's probably been running over the wrong trip for long enough.
Yeah.
And he was workmanlike in the last couple of races over a mile, and he's come out here, he's gone up in trip, and he's blown them away. He's gone and won by a wide margin, which he did several times last year. Yep. He was fantastic. You cannot knock him.
It turns out that over a mile, he was workmanlike because he was only in 3rd gear when he hit the line, based on what he was doing today.
Well, yeah. I mean, was he running too fast, too soon? He was running against faster horses over a trip that probably doesn't suit him. Yeah. You know what I mean? And it's because he's that good. Now I fell into the maybe he isn't that good because that's the way he races, and maybe he won't stay because he's never tried the trip, and obviously he got all that wrong. Quite good. I had a lot of banter with punters on Twitter a couple of days beforehand, just talking about it. Quite a few agreed, plenty not, but all very sociable and amenable and whatever. And then as soon as the result comes in, the weirdos come out. I got dog's abuse today, of course. My favourite one was you were low rent Matt Chapman just looking for clicks. I love that one. But yeah, it's funny, isn't it? Wait.
That was me, Keel.
Oh, that was you. I thought it was.
That was
someone who went under the tagline "Deafy Do Soy" on Twitter. But yeah, I mean,
he retired from racing. He's opened an account, has he?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, he was a right dog as well, wasn't he?
Well, fair play to him for managing to send that tweet with his hooves. So Tom Segal at home, ready and raring to go. Tom, lovely to see you. Not entirely sure you're going to say the same for me.
No, we enjoyed having Sam. Different gravy, wouldn't he? When we get him back.
I mean, honestly, I was sat on the train, like I said, I've been sat in Peterborough for 3.5 hours, and I was watching me lose my job at the same time as well.
Smooth as silk, couldn't he? No puns, smooth as silk, no worries. We had his dad on, we had everything on.
What more do you want? What more do you want? Yeah, no, absolutely exemplary job. And like I said, off the bench with about 20 minutes notice, he's got a bright future, that lad. And have you got a bright future, Tom? What are we looking for the next few days?
Well past it, Ross, as you well know. Yeah, well, it was great. Keels was fun. What a great day's racing. Couldn't see much here. We were in the middle of an incredible thunderstorm. So my Sky box went down, so I didn't see much of the racing. I've watched it since back on the old on the web, but at the time I didn't see them live. But Baaeed, brilliant, wasn't he? Absolutely superb. As a new London fan, I was pleased to see Deauville Legend win as he liked in the Voltigeur 2. So I think might have the right one in the St Ledger there. But it was just really good. The handicaps were really competitive. The only thing I'd say is I thought the times were pretty slow, weren't they? It's not fast ground there by any stretch.
There's not a sniff of firm in that, is there?
No, not at all. Not at all. It's nearer good to soft than good to firm, that's for sure, on the times. I hope they don't water tonight. I really hope they keep the water off it, because we'd like some fast ground. We would for the rest of the week, especially the Nunthorpe. You know, that's what it's all about, watching those horses run 53 seconds, 54 seconds, or whatever they run. And so hopefully keep the water off, but it was really good. Yeah, I don't understand sprints, so the first and the last two races went right over the top of my head. But Alfred Boucher was nice, and so we move on to tomorrow.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the advantage was that because I was sat on the train on the chat, and my signal went down after the first race, that Neil Francis messaged me on the chat yesterday to say, "What do you fancy tomorrow, Ross?" So I can lay it. And I said, Bergerac just wins the first, doesn't he? Pops out, makes all. So actually, me not being here and not being able to get past that first race on the chat has been profitable for at least me and maybe not Neil. So, yeah, definitely getting on that speed and that far side of rail wasn't the worst thing to do at York today. But it can change. It will change. It always changes. That's for sure. Simon Clare is the third change in the formation. We had the cup team out. We're going to the league tonight, Simon, I feel.
You're such a git. I was just going to say that. I was going to say last night was the Caribou Cup side, and tonight's the big Premier League derby team, isn't it? You know, with Tom Segal. Tom.
He's got to play every game.
Pro plays in both. Exactly. Yeah. That's right.
Oh, okay. They kept me. Thanks very much. You got yourself out of that one, Si.
I had it all lined up, and then Ross stole my thunder. But yeah, it was a great day today. Jim Crowley's obviously our Coral ambassador. I was thrilled for him. He had been admitting he's been loving his association with Baaeed. He knows he's never going to have a horse like that again. But he was saying the last couple of times, you know, there was that pressure coming in, and he said it was starting to get most enjoyable after the line each time. And I think when you saw the slow-mo, the smile on his face, I mean, that was almost by far the most impressive performance in top-class company he's had. And it's just such a shame. Look, we've seen lots of him. He's been amazing. Just the one race to go. I'm sure he's going to win the Champions League Stakes. He's 1-3. You wish it would go on forever, but yeah, we just got to enjoy it for one more time, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, forever's getting slightly going away time. I'd settle for one more season, to be fair, or at least.
Yeah.
I mean, it is a bit frustrating, though, isn't it? I mean, Tom. I mean, like I said, he's related to Hookham. The Dan was a multiple 10 furlong winner. The Kaz Barn, who's related to, is a multiple 10 furlong winner as well. Why has he been piddling around in these mile races?
Well, look, he's been winning them, so there's nothing wrong with him. I mean, I love mile races. I think mile races are the best races anywhere in the world. I love them. But so
they are when you've got really good horses, aren't they? Well, we haven't got any apart from him. That's why he's been there.
That's true, but nonetheless, wouldn't you? I mean, the disappointing thing for me out of today was that they were going to go for the Champion Stakes at Ascot. I just thought that was a bit of the easy option.
Yeah,
that's that. He's going to win that. He's going to be 1-3. He'll have a lap round. At least when Frankel ran in that race, he had Cirrus de Zagel and soft ground, and he had to do something to win. He'll have nothing to beat again. If he went for the Arc, it would be just a tremendous thing for the sport, I think.
Yeah, given that the planet's ecosystem has currently gone haywire, you might end up with heavy ground at Ascot and good to soft at Longchamp.
Yeah, I mean, there's the fallacy that the Yarks always run on heavy ground. It's not. It's not. I think half the time it's run on good ground, whereas think I'd be pushed to find any good ground at Ascot on Champions Day historically. That might change, obviously. But I'd love to see him in the Arc. What's to lose? Yeah. We know he's a brilliant horse. He's won a million Group 1s. He can win another one at Ascot, all well and good. But if he went to the Arc and won that, then he really is up there with the greatest ever. And that's what I'd like to see.
Yeah, absolutely. It'd be nice to see him win an Arc. We could probably do with an Arc if you're in London as well. It's Kempton, like we said, has been abandoned. I wonder if we'll get any of that at York this week. But just a reminder as well, we've got a members club offer at the Racing Post as well for this week. £4.99 for your first month, and a free Racing Post notebook to get into the mix as well. And Keels might even put his unlucky horses in there for you as a treat.
You need something bigger than a notebook.
We'll get a bit of a much bigger pad of paper for you there, Keels. But anyway, let's move on to tomorrow. We've got some more fantastic racing. That's the joy of York and the Ebor meeting in particular, is that I think every day's nicely set up. You've got your obvious feature, your obvious supports, and then some nice handicaps around it. And we've got a potentially exciting horse in the shape of Dramatised, who's narrow odds on now for the Lowther to open proceedings tomorrow. 5 to 6 for Carl Burke after that demolition job at Royal Ascot. Morge is 4 to 1, Kinter 11 to 1, Lady Hollywood 12 to 1, Matilda Picote is also 12 to 1. Then 20s Maria Bramwell and Corindia 25 to 1 bar those. Despite the 14 runners, this is an exceptionally top-heavy market. Now, I know that Keels is not going to be able to resist taking on this favourite, but it is a 2-year-old race. Traditionally, I do come to you, Tom, first for the juvenile contest, because you like the 2-year-old races. I'm pretty sure you were a fan of Dramatised at Royal Ascot, but either way, everyone certainly was after the race because she took the Queen Mary to bits.
Yeah, it's funny. If you'd have told me after the race that I would be sitting here thinking, am I totally convinced by Dramatised, I would have said you're nuts, because she won what looked a very good Queen Mary in a very good time and looked like she had the world at her feet. But the form has been terrible since, isn't it? The second's got thrashed, the third's got well beaten in the super sprint and races like that. I just don't know. I mean, the time tells me it was really good. So I'm a times man, so I can't be sitting here saying the performance on the day wasn't good, but the form has worked out really badly. And on form, if you're a stemmer and you like looking, who's beaten who, 5 to 6 is very short because the form isn't that good. The time suggests she'll win. The form says she doesn't. So I really don't know. I was in a pickle about this race because I like Dramatised. I want Dramatised to win, but on the actual bare facts of what happened at Ascot, she's very take-onable, if that's a word, at odds on. What to take her on with, I thought was really tricky because I thought there are only probably 2 possibles. And I haven't seen what Keels' tips, but I bet he's on either Morge or Kinter each way because that seems the obvious way to go. I personally think Dramatised will still win, so I didn't want to play that game. But I think Kinter's quite interesting, really, because I thought she ran well against Lazoo last time. Lazoo was probably a bit unlucky not to beat Morge at Newmarket the time before. I think she's getting better every time. That was her first run on turf. So maybe, if forced, I'd suggest Kinter each way. But I do think Dramatised will still win, despite her form not working out very well at all.
Okay, Dramatised 5 to 6. So Kinter is currently 11 to 1 shot. She's got the 1 box as well, which obviously hasn't been the worst place to be. And she's with the right connections. Danny Tudhope, 2-year-olds for Carl Burke and Clipper Logistics in Class 1 races. He's 4 winners from 10. He's 2 from 3 at York. When they get a good one, they know they've got a good one. He rides them confidently. He's likely to be out there. And they're not going to be messing around even over this extra furlong. But like you said, it's just the price, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those. I mean, she was almost a second faster than Little Big Bear on the same day in the Windsor Castle. He's now the highest rated juvenile probably in Europe, definitely in Britain and Ireland. But by the same token, the second and third to Dramatised were always also faster than him, and we've seen what they've done since. So yes, the time was very good. She did win pretty easily. She's clearly the most likely winner, but I cannot bring myself to have a bet at that sort of price in a race when the form hasn't worked out that well. It's as simple as that. She could quite easily, and you quite often get the case of being a very good winner of an average race. Yeah. And she might just be just miles better than them and miles better than everything else. That's perfectly plausible. And I did think, the each way bets it was between Morge and Kinter, and because Kinter's double the price of Morge, I didn't really get that because, like Tom said, Morge was probably a little bit lucky to keep that race in the Stewards Room at Newmarket. Against Lazou. Lazou beat Kinter only a length, but Kinter didn't have the best of runs that day. He was shuffled out early and was keen at the back afterwards.
Ironically, for an Ascot race, she was too far back. It normally helps, but
well, yeah, and I don't know whether that was the plan. First go on turf because she's actually gone from the front. So I don't think she's short of pace to be able to be up there. Obviously, George Bowie's got her in just about every top group race going on into the autumn as well. So he clearly rates her very highly. And although we've got 14 runners, I don't think it is that deep a race unless something shows us some. There's obviously plenty of unexposed horses in there, but they need to show. Most of them need to show a fair bit more. So I just thought Kinter was a quite an appealing each way bet at a double figure price.
Okay, Kinter is an 11-1 shot. The other thing I would say about the form, maybe not working out for the Queen Mary, is that I would say there seems to be significantly more opportunities for your 2-year-old colts since Royal Ascot. It's a bit apart from the you got Newmarket, then you got Princess Margaret and Ascot, but for the fillies, then you've either got a chance of kind of taking on the colts, or for example the Platinum Queen went for that conditions race, and it just seems a bit of a funny campaign for the 2-year-old fillies. Yeah,
I suppose so. But I mean, you have got the Duchess of Cambridge, and like you said, the Princess Margaret, and there's a couple of them ran in the Super Sprint as well, didn't they?
Yeah.
I mean, there are opportunities, probably not as many.
Yeah.
And there's various listed races around at the time as well, isn't there? So.
Okay. Dramatised, there's a 5-6 shot then. Morge is 4-1. Kinter is an 11-1 shot. Any extra places for that each way, or are you running scared of Dramatised here, Simon?
Yeah, I think the shape of the market means we're going the normal standard terms each way. We have got an in the nose special. Dramatised is 3-1 from 5-2 to win by over 1.5 lengths. She's won both those starts, including that win at Royal Ascot by bigger margins than that. Has been money for Morge. She's the obvious one, sort of being backed against her each way. We're currently 4-1 her. Bits of money for Corindia and Lady Tilbury, sort of big prices. But I think in the last 10 years, all bar one winner has been single-figure prices, 3 favourites, plenty of short prices. So it does feel like the sort of race where the winners like to come probably from that front two. So you can see why people might be backing Morge each way. I just thought Queen Me was the only horse which I thought at a very big price was vaguely interesting. Her mum won the Lowther, Queen Kindly, in 2016. She won her only race start at 6-4 favourite quite nicely, trained by Kevin Ryan, so obviously beautifully bred. And so I thought she might be interesting at a massive price. But realistically, it feels like the front two are going to be the most likely source of the winner.
Okay. I'll give a quick shout out to Matilda Picote as well, who reminds me a little bit of Miss Amulet, who won this a couple of seasons ago. But yeah, Dramatised 5-6. It basically is. Do you think she's as good as she looked at Ascot, or is that price based on a little bit of maybe a little bit of hype and people going crazy for the speed figure? But Dramatised 5-6. If you think she's going to bolt up to win by over 1.5 lengths, is 3-1 from 5-2. You're taking her on, Keels?
Yeah, I had a few quid each way on Kinter.
Okay. You're of the same opinion, Tom, although slightly more reluctantly, I feel.
Yeah, I won't have a bet. I want Dramatised to win. It's a bit like the Baaeed thing all over again. I thought she was really good at Ascot. I really like her, so I want her to win. So I'll watch and hope she wins.
Okay. Queen Me for Destiny Sounds. Will says Dramatises his nap of the meeting. Sam Kealy says Morge is a nice filly. He thinks Meditate's a very good horse, so he's going to be following that form, as is Sam Kealy, and is Jesus as well. Good evening to you. So quite a few fancies against Dramatised, although Will will be hoping that she bolts up. And we've got another 2-year-old race to get stuck into next up. Another 6 furlong contest as well, and a tasty prize on offer, 122,950 quid to the winner here for the Premier Yearling Stakes. And Richard Hannon likes a winner in this. 4 winners from only 19 runners over the past 10 years, and he's only got 1 this season, and that is Should Have Been a Ring at 7-2. Washington Heights is 11-2. Dare to Hope 7-1. Revision 10-1. Matching Socks 10s. Meta Horse is 11s. Remarkable Force 12s with Redemption Time. There are 19 of them running here. Matching Socks is in there for Andrew Balding. We've got Carsib as well, who comes out of a good Goodwood race, and Secret Angel for Carl Burke, and Glorious Angel for Hugo Palmer here at Keels. But yeah, this is one of those races that you get the feeling about 3 or 4 yards every single season. Look at their 2-year-olds. And they go, yeah, that's our one for that big York race, and Hannon is one of those.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I found, I found myself, just so drawn to the horse. I was looking at it, and you're looking down the field, and I thought, well, hang on a minute, this looks an exceptionally weak renewal to me. I don't think there's anything in the race that has even come close to achieving the level of the worst winner in the last 10 years of this so far. And then I was looking at these, and Should Have Been a Ring, who is the Hannon's one, is right up there with the best on what he's done. We haven't seen him since May, and he was so clueless on both two starts. He was absolutely hopeless on his first start when he was 4th to Rocket Rodney. Flopped out the stalls, didn't know what he was doing, and then rocketed home. You didn't see it out of the picture, but you thought to yourself, how did he get so close in the end, given where he was? And then next time at Ripon, I don't know whether he was still green or he didn't really like Ripon's undulations, but he looked all at sea all the way through the race, but still won it very easily. In the end, won it going away. And I think there's every chance he's going to be an awful lot better than that. Whether he's had issues because he's been off or he's just been given a bit of time to mature, which is another possibility, hopefully the right one. I just think he's very, very interested and hard to get away from him. Now, obviously, Hannon has won 4 of the last 6 of these. He's usually mob-handed. He did win it one of those years when he only had one runner.
Was that Mum's Tipple? Was it that year?
No, it was Stormy Clouds.
Ah, yes, of course, yeah.
No,
He's 4 from 19, but none of them have placed who haven't won. So they're either absolutely primed for this, or they bomb out completely.
Yeah, and he has mostly. Mum's Tipple won it by 11 lengths, but Stormy Clouds was a very easy winner when he was the sole one.
Yeah.
As well. I shouldn't think Trap 7 is any issue, and there weren't that many I would be that excited about. I mean, there is, the penalised one, Won't Carry the Most Weight, Remarkable Force. I thought ran really well at Goodwood last time, and has got first-time cheek pieces for Alice Haynes, taken out of the nursery at the end of today's card to run in this.
And the second and the 6th finished in the places in that nursery as well.
Exactly, yeah. So, I thought that might run well, but, obviously it's given a fair bit of weight away as well.
Okay. Should have been ringing 7-2. Remarkable Force is a 12-1 shot here, yeah. Keels thinks a few of these, Tom, might be turning up to just throw a dart at a big paycheck, which might well be the case for the Lowther as well. And quite a lot of these 2-year-old races, again, if you've got a half-decent one and you've got a ticket to one of these sales races, you tend to turn up. But you are up against the battalions of your Hannons and your Fahys and your Ryans and so on and so forth. Could you see past Should Have Been a Ring, or is there anything at a tasty price that caught your eye?
I agree with Keels that I think it's a shocking renewal of the race in comparison with what we have. We've had, Dare to Hope there is 3rd favourite on the caption there. He was like, 11th in the Super Sprint? I know he didn't get much of a run, but normally we get the Super Sprint winner, Happy Romance, or someone come in here and win. It just looks a bad renewal, so therefore I have no qualms at all about Should Have Been a Ring at the top of the market, and I wouldn't worry about his fitness given the fact that he's the price he is. He's clearly been well backed all week. I know he opened up about 6-1, and now he's about 7-2. So probably win, won't he, for Richard Hannon? I thought Washington Heights Kevin Ryan's another man who's got good record in these races. He's clearly been targeted at this race, so I'd give him a shout. Bigger price ones. Top Stables Matching Socks. Andrew Balding won on his debut. Probably a bit lucky because the second horse sort of hung all over the track. And Meta Horse for Michael Bell. I thought that's the other ammo one. I was quite surprised Ross Aran didn't ride Meta Horse because I thought he was quite impressive 2 starts ago and then sort of won as he liked last time. But I think he'll stay well, and he might go well as well. But it's not a great race, so I think Should Have Been a Ring will probably win. Washington Heights and Meta Horse the dangers.
Okay, yeah, Meta Horse. Yeah, you get the feeling, again, maybe that draw's not been too bad for the placed horses, has it? We've not had any from high draws get their head in front. But King of Stars obviously ran a blinder, and we had a couple in that nursery. But yeah,
they'll just all go over, won't they, Ross? They'll all just go over to that side. And as we saw in the nursery last time, if you're up in the middle, that's fine. I just don't think you want to be anywhere near this stands rail, which will make the round course races more interesting, perhaps, because they might all stick down the far side, and therefore we can get back to an old draw where everything gets in everything else's way. So
the one thing about York though is they take their time to come across.
Yeah, yeah.
They do it properly.
Yeah.
Like, whereas you see them do it at Ascot, it's, I've got to get there straight away, which is the wrong way to do it. But when you see it, it's just gradual, isn't it? You know what I mean? And King of Stars was almost, only had a couple of horses the other side of him by the time he finished, didn't he? Near the far rail. And that's the way to do it. If you come across straight away, you are losing ground. But if you do it very, very gradually, you're losing next to nothing.
Yeah, they're taking it. It's a gradual diagonal to the line rather than a sharp swerve.
Exactly, yeah.
Which again, because that puts you on the back. Suddenly, you're giving away 2 lengths, aren't you? And then they've got a bit of a jump on you in front, and you're in trouble. You might as well stay where you were. Those at home, Jonathan Sherritt says I think this is for Richard Hannon again. Can't see past the favourite for win purposes. And Devos has given this one a miss. So much room for improvement for all the runners, and that, I think that is this kind of race. It should have been a ring though. Is a 7-2 favourite here. Washington Heights in at 11-2. Dare to Hope, who has been unlucky a couple of times this season. Tom thinks Meta Horse might run a half decent race. I wouldn't entirely rule out Carsib of bouncing back either here for Clive Cox, who. He's just had no luck whatsoever. I mean, he was sent off favourite behind Royal Scotsman. Last time out, he was in completely the wrong place in that Goodwood nursery. Foss Lassie went too quick. He was behind Little Big Bear at Ascot. I know there's only so many excuses you can make about a horse, but 20-1 isn't a bad little angle. Simon, what have you got for us here? We're struggling to nail anything down too strongly.
Yeah, I mean, should have been a ring. Everything points to him. Obviously, with Richard Hannon's record, the money is collapsing as we speak. We're now 3-1. Should have been a ring. It's as short as 11-4 in places. I think it's going to go off a really short price. It could be as short as 2-1, I reckon, by tomorrow, unless there's some, alternatives backed in the market. Tom's points to Kevin Ryan's sort of record in these kind of races. He's won this race before in the last 10 years. The In the Know special is there's 2 Kevin Ryan runners, Washington Heights and Revision 10-1 chance. Who's got a Mill Reef entry. Washington Heights the second favourite. If you want to back Kevin Ryan to win this with either, it works out around 3-1. That was the price we were. We're going 4-1, the Ryan pair combined as an In the Know special. And we are going 5 places, not 4 in this race. And of course, we do pay best odds guaranteed, even with the extra places, which some firms don't. And we are best odds guaranteed now, which many firms aren't. So there's a little promotion of those facts. But yeah, looks like the favourite is going to be very, very strong.
Okay, should have been ring then. 7-2 favourite. Keels, you're taking a small chance with?
Yeah, the Fav. Yeah, should have been a ring.
Yeah. Okay, fair enough. And Tom?
It's another not really a betting race for me. I will, if I was to have a bet, it would probably be a little bit on Meta Horse, but I think it's a bad race really.
Okay. You ever met a horse, Tom?
Hey, very good. Yes, many times.
Many times. Good. Lovely stuff. Anyway, let's move on, shall we?
I met a horse in the next race just before Ascot.
Did you really?
Yeah, we'll talk about it in a minute.
That's a little teaser. That's better than the seeing the horse box on the way to the races. You've actually got face to face.
Face to face.
Did they tell you it was going to win? It was going to win?
No.
No, okay, fair enough. Well, maybe we won't back it then. But Clipper Logistics handicap hero for the mile at York is traditionally a very competitive one, especially if you're David O'Mara, who runs 5 this year, which is quite conservative for him. He's got Blue for You in at 6-1. Echo Points in for 7-1 for Charlie Appleby. Torinian Sea is 8-1. Brunch is 8-1. Northern Express 9. Shining Blue 10s. Busala 10s. Orban is 10s. You've also got plenty of other York horses as well. Northern Express, of course, regularly runs here. Cruyff Turn, who won this race last year and loves it here. Isla Kai, who's run a couple of nice races here. Uzo, who likes the track. Escobar, Lion Tower. What's the Story? Shellier. This is a proper York race, Tom, with plenty of York horses in it.
Yeah, it was what you would expect, isn't it? The old favourites. It's like going back in time a year, isn't it? And nearly all the same horses are running again, with a couple of exceptions. Boringly, I quite like the Fav, Blue for You. Really, I thought he was a bit unlucky. I know Orban beat him easily, but if Danny Tubbo had stuck where he was rather than trying to find room and find a gap, I think he would have stuck Orban in behind him and got first run. He might well have won it Goodwood last time. I think he's £9 better off here. No, he likes York. The way he travelled was quite impressive, I thought, Goodwood last time. Now, I know he had stall 1. I know that's a massive advantage, and it could all turn around here. But I just thought he's a well handicapped horse in good form that's going to run well with a trainer that has a great record in these York handicaps. So he was my number one. You could make a case for loads of others. Tyrrhenian Sea and Shining Blue was drawn in the car park, and Revic, who ran on last time, and Busala and Orban himself. But the other one I went for was a bit of a chance at the trip, Northern Express. Another very interesting York horse. Absolutely hacked all over Orban 3 starts ago. Got sort of undone in a tactical race at York the next time. Slowly run 7 furlong race behind Salem. Would have got up, probably would have won in another 100 yards. And then ran in a really good Ascot race. Didn't fancy him at all against Fresh and Bless Him and all those really. I think those Ascot handicaps are light years ahead of all the other handicaps run all season, really. I know, and I think that form is much, much better than what he has, much, much better than the horses he's facing today in this race. Back at York, I think he's going to go really well. The worry I've got is the mile. But I think on what he's shown, the way he's finished his races the last few times, I think he'll really like the mile. So they were my two Northern horses in the York Handicap, 2 Yorkshire horses in the Yorkshire Handicap, Blue for You and Northern Express.
Okay, Blue for You is a 6-1 shot. Northern Express is 9-1. A couple of things to pick up on there. The international stakes, it's working out remarkably well, isn't it? Documenting's won, Orban's won 2, Lion Tower's won, and Jumbie went on and won a Group 3 at the weekend as well. So that race is red hot. And in terms of, I know Box 1 at Goodwood might be an advantage, Tom, but Box 1 in this race in the past 24 years is 5 wins from 24 runners, 23 quid profit. So it's not been a bad angle to be tucked down that inside either. So Blue for You at 6-1. David O'Mara has run 39 horses in this race in the past 10 years. He's only won it twice though, and not since 2016 with Firmament, who was a 4-year-old drawn in Box 1. Blue for You echoing those angles. But surely on the poor Kealy beaten in a big handicap.
Yeah, well, this is it. This is why he wins.
This is why he wins.
Yeah, it's because I've jumped off him.
Yeah, perfect timing.
Exactly what Tom said. It was funny. It just goes to show, jockeys are quite often faced with an either-or decision, aren't they? And Danny Turdo's stuck there waiting for a run on Blue for You, and he suddenly makes a decision, I've got to get out. As soon as he gets out, the gap opens and Orban shoots through it instead, and that's it. He's lost the race, But he's definitely got a chance. He's obviously still very well handicapped. I think a £3 higher mark. But I just thought, looking at that race, and I backed one earlier in the week, Revic, back to 33-1. Just couldn't understand why he was 33-1, because he was third there at Goodwood, and he was drawn in stall 15, and he come from way off the pace. And he was 66-1 that day, but he was only 66-1 because of the draw.
Yeah.
His 2 previous runs had been right up there with his best ever form. He'd been unlucky at Chester. He'd been second in an Oaks Day handicap at Epsom. So he'd been right up to his form, and he ran. He ran arguably even better then. And he was an outsider. He's still around 20-1, I think now. Which I just think is a big price for a horse that's clearly been in the form of his life all spring and summer. And he's the one I met. I went to Richard Spencer's yard just before Royal Ascot. It's funny, there's a crowd of us looking around the yard, and Revic is in a box right next to Mr. Big Stuff, who I'd backed a couple of times already that year. And I don't normally get all gooey-eyed over these things but I was standing there, and both of them were really friendly, particularly Mr. Big Stuff, who put his head in this, and I was like this, When I turned around, everybody else had gone. I had no idea where I was. I was thoroughly enjoying it, well into it. So I hope Revic wins because he's my mate now. But I've also backed Shining Blue, who was tailed off last in the mile, but he was drawn right on the outside.
You were about 5 wide throughout the entire race.
He was drawn right on the outside, and he was keen and went forward and wide all the way. And that's not the way to do it if you want to try and win from a bad draw. You got to duck in and try and ride for luck. And I don't think it was a jockey's fault. He was just so keen. And you got to bear in mind that the day before the declarations were made, he was 4-1 favourite for that Golden Mile. He ended up going off 12s because he was drawn in the car park, but he was unbeaten until then. He looked pretty impressive in the races that he'd won, and he's now drifted all the way out to a double-figure price. And Sabin Surratt has put cheek pieces on. Now, given how keen he's been, that looks a good move to me. And while headgear is quite often bad news. With Saeed bin Suroor not a cheek piece, it's a hood. When Saeed bin Suroor puts a hood on, you pay attention. Since 2016, 18 winners from 42 runners. And the last 2 that he ran in Class 2 handicaps both won. So I would definitely take a chance on him. There's more to come from him. He's got Frankie Dettori on board, and he's a double figure price.
Okay, makes you wonder why he doesn't just put the hood on all of them. Blue for you is 6-1 favourite then, but a couple of, Keels, who knew he was, well, I knew he was such a softie, but maybe you at home didn't. But Revic looked him in the eye, gave him a wink, and says, see you at York. Simon, Clare, what have we got for the Clipper Logistics? Do you have any heartwarming stories that'll bring a tear to your eye for any of the runners in this race?
Nothing that can top Keel's story there. God, I didn't know he was such a big softie. But Revic is Revic is a horse I'd singled out. Jim Crowley rides in. He was giving him a upbeat chance in his blog. Things have got really good each way close. Based on that, as you say, that third when he was third to the horses drawn 1 and 2 in the Coral Golden Mile. Give that race a plug. Tyranny and Sea's been very well backed. Ran in really good company last time at Windsor. Got some highly rated horses. Modern News and My Oberon was second at the Easter Classic at Newcastle behind Living Legends. Some really good form. And he's been really well backed into 8-1 from 11. So this is one of the big betting races of the day. There's been loads of money. Blue for You has been well backed. That's the Segal factor. Money for Tyranny and C, Northern Express, and others. So I mean, it's a good betting race, and I think we're all going for different horses, which makes it quite interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I'll do what I always do in York handicaps and back Brunch to place. His record in York handicaps is first, second. He probably should have won the 2 he didn't win. He's got a few of his own thoughts about the game, but he's been running against horses that are significantly better than what he's facing today, and he loves the track. And box 3 is very tasty indeed as well for Brunch. So I'll go with him each way. Keels.
Yeah, Shining Blue. And what's the other one? Revic.
You've forgotten your best mate's name there, Keels.
Yeah, so I'd already moved on to the next race. You know me, mate. Bit of a daydream.
Sorry, I thought you were thinking about the look that Revic gave you. Tom, what are you going for this?
God, I've forgotten too.
Blue for you.
North Express.
Okay, great. And I'll go for Brunch. Simon, let's just move on, shall we? Nothing against you, Simon. I'll come to you first for this next one. For the big race of the day on day 2 of the Ebor meeting, it is the Yorkshire Oaks. Group 1 for the fillies and mares, of course, over the 1.5 mile, and a battle of the generations here with the 3-year-old fillies form, which has been much debated since that Epsom race. Of course, the likes of Tuesday and Nashwa and Emily Upjohn have given us plenty of contrasting opinions over the summer so far. But it's Alpinista who keeps on winning and keeps on beating good horses, who heads the betting here at 5-2. The aforementioned Tuesday is 130. Le Petit Coco for Paddy Toomey, who keeps winning races in Ireland. Can he get one in the UK? Magical Lagoon is 5-1. Raclette is 10-1. She'll definitely want it to go very soft. Lilac Road is 11-1. Poptronic at 25-1 is the outsider of the bunch. Simon, Clare, the feature race of the day tomorrow is the Yorkshire Oaks.
Yeah, and it's an absolute cracker in many ways. We've had some very good horses win this, 5 favourites in 5 years, 4 of them odds on. And it often is that kind of race where a star turns up like Enable or Snowfall and just wins. But this year it's 5-2 the field. Alpinista, 4 Group 1 wins, never won a Group 1 in this country. She's really weak, drifting out. Tuesday, the one for money. Ran flat really in that Irish Derby behind the Colts, but back in the in with the fillies today, she's been really well backed into 130, as has Le Petit Coco, who's 7-2 from 9-2. The weakest in the betting, quite interestingly, is Magical Lagoon, out to 5-1 from 4-1. She's friendless pretty much. And we are paying 3 places, not 2, despite the fact that it's just a 7-runner race. It worked really well in the Coral Eclipse, really attracted, really drove up the turnover as people were able to back each way with that 3rd place. And because it's so competitive, our senior trader, James Knight, is giving it another whirl in the Yorkshire Oaks.
Okay, there we go. A bit of each-way temptation then in the big race tomorrow. I believe you've got a price boost up your sleeve as well, Simon.
We have indeed, thank you. We boosted Alpinista to 11-4 from 2-1, but she's now drifted out to 5-2, so it's not quite as radical a price boost. It's up to max £20 up till 7 o'clock. So if you want to back 11-4, it is the top. We are top price 5-2 in the normal market, so that 11-4 is unmatched elsewhere. So If you fancy her and you want to get a score on 11-4, that's available till 7.
Okay, there you go. Alpinista to win the Yorkshire Oaks, 11-4 out from 2-1. She's the favourite for Sir Mark Prescott and Luke Morris. She keeps on winning. She's never finished out of the front two over this trip. And of course, she comes from as you would expect, a beautiful family for this. Do the rest have a mountain to climb to beat this favourite, Keels?
Well, I mean, it's funny, isn't it? Because, you talk about the short price horses that have gone into this race. I bet she's the only one that's gone into the race on the back of 4 consecutive Group 1 wins and hasn't been odds on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's quite crazy. It shows I suppose it shows what people, British punters, bookmakers, etc., think of foreign Group 1s. Because she hasn't yet done it over here. But let's not forget, she beat Torquato Tasso last year before he won the Arc, and he's obviously proved himself since to be a very, very good horse. She's done, she's done incredibly well. She hasn't been out of the first 2 since July 2020. And she just keeps on winning, and she keeps on winning. She's got the best form in the race to these eyes, and I think 11-4 is massive.
Okay, yeah, she's very weak in the market. 11-4 on that price boost. Tom, I guess that's the thing, isn't it? We saw with Torquato Tasso in the King George that the German form is still underrated. 100-1 in the Arc, double figures in the King George, ran a blinder as well. I would say that Alpinista, I mean, she's still not quite cracked an RPR of 120, so she's not quite on that cusp of being an easy winner of this race necessarily, but we still don't know if she's got a little bit more to come. And again, the 3-year-old form, I mean, we're ducking and diving and weaving with opinions on that. Do you have an angle in here, especially with that extra place for each way bets?
Not really. I was very tempted to tip Alpinista at 2-1. So 11-4 to me seems like a massive price, like Keels suggested. I think she's a lot better than these on form. I really do. I mean, I think I was so impressed with her at St. Cloud last time. I know the form and the horses she beat weren't great, but she gave them all a head start, looped the field, came through and won. I thought very, very easily. I thought she looked better there than she ever has before. I'm staggered. I mean, I've got full respect for the Racing Post ratings guys, but I'm staggered. She's only £4 ahead of Lilac Road and horses like that. She's won 4 Group 1s. She's beaten the Arc winner. Won a Group 1 at St. Cloud last time. I thought she was a lot better than these, and I'm surprised she's drifting. I think she'll win. I really do. La Petite Coco's obviously progressing, but it was a pretty weak, pretty Polly she won last time. Tuesday ran no race in the Irish Derby. Whatever you say, she was, the tactics or whatever, but she was behind some moderate horses that day. Raclette has got plenty to find. Magical Lagoon's getting better, but she only scraped home in the Ribblesdale. I think Alpinista's just like a lot better than these. I'm getting stuck in. I'm taking that 11-4. I want this James Knight character to push it out to 3s.
There you go. 20. Get that Chris 20 quid note out of your wallet, Tom.
I'm getting it out, and I'm getting my wife's account.
Oh, right, okay, lovely stuff. You better. How many friends can you make in the next 15 minutes, Tom?
Exactly.
Alpinista then 11-4 for that price boost until 7 o'clock. Keels and Tom very firmly with her. Like I said, as for the rest, I mean that Irish Derby form is a funny one, isn't it? Because I mean, just put her in the race was the initial thought I had watching that replay back for Tuesday. And I do have the Patrick Toomey angle for Le Petit Coco is a funny one. He keeps winning races, especially with fillies and mares. His strike rate is absolutely phenomenal. They seem to win every race in exactly the same way. They blast out, they're either on the speed or on the heels at these Irish tracks. They kick on as they come into the long home straight, and they don't seem to get anywhere near them. I'm just a bit worried whether those kind of bullying tactics are going to work here.
Yeah, but
he keeps having winners, doesn't he?
He keeps having winners, yeah. His strike rate is phenomenal, isn't it?
Yeah.
So you'd have to respect her. But I mean, it is a further step up in class, and I think she'll struggle. I wouldn't be surprised if Tuesday did turn out to be the danger. I know we've knocked the Oaks form. Obviously, I think Nashwa's proved she's probably the best horse and the best filly from the Oaks, finishing 3rd when she didn't really stay. But Tuesday, she'd been having a few runs, hadn't she, by the time she rocked up in the Irish Derby? She'd already run 4 times in the spring, so I could you could let her off that. You say this will tell us whether the Oaks form really was a good race, like as it looked at the time. or whether we can forget it a little bit other than Nashua. But I think Alpinista is very much the one to beat still.
Okay, Alpinista is a 5-2 shot. Just a shout, we should mention Lilac Road and Poptronic as well. Not because necessarily you're looking at the form and thinking, my God, these two have got a chance. But this is York, and they both have rock-solid York form. I think with those three places, Simon, I might have a nibble of Lilac Road each way and Poptronic each way and hope that we get a York result on the Knaves Mile, which certainly tends to happen in these races. But I get the feeling, we're all you looked at this race, you thought maybe I'll find an each way angle, but everyone wants to stick with Alpinista. I will take the two outsiders each way with those extra places on offer. Simon, do you have an angle?
Well, no, I mean, I was looking to try and get Alpinista always beat when she was she was 2-1, and Tuesday and everything was 4-1 or bigger. But they're all contracted to the same sort of price. 5-2 Alpinista, 130 Tuesday, 7-2 La Petite Coco, and I think the more you look at Alpinista and look how solid she is, I think she's at that sort of price. She really is just a sensible bet almost. I think I'll probably just go for her.
Okay, there we go. A sensible bet.
If there is one.
Yeah. I was just going to say I don't think my family would necessarily agree, but sensible bet. Alpinista and Dramatized Double says Jesus. Don't underestimate Coco, says Off-World. Industrious Jack doesn't think it's a good race. And Carl Brooks says Alpinista wins this in reverse. Or if you like, reverse in this wins Alpinista. Moving on then to the 4:10 at York. We've got another mile and a half for the fillies and mares here, and arguably this is probably more interesting then the Yorkshire Oaks with Golden Lyre at 5-2, Haskell at 9-2, Mimikyu at 9-2, Time Lock at 13-2, Voodoo Queen at 8-1, Star Fortress at 9-1, Supergirl at 11s, Judith at 12-1, a bigger price as the rest. 12 of them run for this listed contest, and as ever, it's a Haggis and Sunderland Holdings favourites in these races, which again gets a little bit dull every now and then, but they turn up, they run their race. The strike rate is absolutely phenomenal, but we have some nice horses in here, Tom. You're a pedigrees man, and there are some nice pages on offer here.
Yeah, loads of them. Loads of Frankels floating about, aren't there, in there? I thought this was, as you say, I thought it was just as interesting as the Yorkshire Oaks, really. Golden Lyra is the obvious place to start, isn't she? Got Group 1 entries, entered in the Champions Days Fillies and Mares race. Looked okay, didn't she, in a no race at Kempton, I think it was last time.
It was, yeah.
But had run really well in a listed race at Newbury the time before. She's stepped up, mile and a half's fine. Pedigree's good. William Haggis just on form and on speed figures. She's miles behind a few of these. Haskoy was very similar. The much lamented Golden Horn, who I'm a big fan of, has been packed off to be a jump sire way too early. Haskoy looked really good on the all-weather, but should she be 9-2 on the back of what she's done? Mimikyu has good form, perhaps the best form, but is that forerunner race at Newmarket really that reliable? So the two I liked, I thought was worth taking a chance. Voodoo Queen was one. Frankel filly out of Cursory Glance. She won a Grade 1, Group 1 Cursory Glance. It was a top-class filly. I think she was trained by Roger Varian as well. I think she could go well, definitely. But I liked the old Supergirl. We were on Batwan the other day. I'm on Supergirl this time. Batwan was no good, but Supergirl, I just think she's a progressive filly from last year's winning stable. Should have probably won her last three. Won by miles at the Curragh, I think it was, or somewhere. Then should have won at the Curragh next time with a 10-pound claimer on who couldn't get out. And then I thought she was unlucky in the Shergar Cup as well. First time at a mile and a half. I just think she's high on experience against horses without any. She's got a very strong level of form. She's rated within a few pounds of the top ones. She's getting better every time. From last year's winning stable. She stays well. What's not to like? So when she was about 16-20-1 earlier in the day, I thought she was a pretty decent bet, Supergirl. I'll stick with her.
Lovely stuff. Supergirl then. What a marvel you are with that selection at 11-1. That's why I'm a comic, I guess. But Supergirl, probably should have won last time out, although she did look a little bit awkward in the finish. But took the whole home straight to get extracted in both those races, didn't she? This is a wide open contest, Keels. Did you have an angle?
Yeah, I thought it was worth having a pop at something at a big price, and I was having a look, and I was looking at the Rafe Beckett because he's got 3 in the race. Obviously, the Jump Monty horse being ridden by Ryan Moore, but he's got Star Fortress and Luna Dorada. Now, I remember watching Luna Dorada win a race as a juvenile here, and I thought she looked really tough and a real staying type, and one to look out for. And she hasn't really done it since then. She was last of 5 in the Musadora to Emily Upjohn and third with Golden Lyra 1 place in front of her. Last time at Newbury, I thought she showed a little bit more there, although she still got 4 lengths to find with the Fav. I was just looking I couldn't understand why Rob Hornby was riding her and not Star Fortress, given that Star Fortress is a third of the price, because he's got a 36% strike rate for those owners, and he did win on her when she won, and she was really eye-catching. I thought just a little bit too keen at Newmarket last time. I think she'll go close, but I just thought I'm going to take a chance on Luna Dorada at a big price. I think she's crying out for the extra trip.
And she's York horse.
You know, and she's got that York form. Obviously, not such a good one in the Musadora, but I think she's crying out for 1.5 miles now, and I just think she might run well at a very big price.
Okay, there we go. A nice price for her. Simon will tell us what that is in a second, and I'll take a chance with Time Lock here, who I was really impressed with when bolting up over this trip at Newmarket. And last time out was giving weight away to Mimikyu, who's now rated £9 superior and is a shorter price here. So I thought Time Lock was very interesting, as you would expect from a beautiful Juddmonte family. Simon, talk us through this this Henry Cecil Stakes. Do you have any extra places, price boosts, or strong opinions?
Yeah, I mean, Luna Dorada is a 28 to 1 chance. That's Paul's tip. Nice big price there. And there's been 4 winning favourites in 10 years. So you can understand why people are maybe sort of focusing on Golden Lyra or Lyra. We've got an In the Know special, John Gosden to train the winner. He's trained the winner of this a couple of times in the last 10 years. And he has 2 in the race in Mimikyu, I quite like, as well as Judith. And that was an 11 to 4 chance. And we're going 7 to 2, which is bigger than the combined current prices. So a bit of fun there. And the money all for Supergirl, obviously the Segal Factor and Star Fortress. They're the 2 being well back. The Keels Factor and Star Fortress. And I'll probably go for Mimikyu, the John Gosden, the more fancied of the John Gosden pair. I thought it was very impressive. Small field, but absolutely hosed up at Newmarket last time.
Okay, lovely stuff then. Keels, just reiterate your pick.
Yeah, Luna Dorada at a big price.
Okay, Tom?
Supergirl. I don't have the song for Supergirl, so I can't sing to you this time, Ross.
No, it's fine. It's all right. But no, I appreciate it. I appreciate the... I can't think of any more jokes. I'm trying to think of one. I'll go for Time Lock and Mimikyu for Simon Clare. We've got 2 more races to go. We've got a 7 furlong nursery, the penultimate race on the card tomorrow at 4:45 at York. 7 furlongs, 17 runners. And One Nation is the market leader here for Charlie Appleby and William Buick. No great surprise given connections, and also given some nice winners in the past for them. Space Blues, of course, winning a nice 7 furlong handicap for them at York a few years ago. Can One Nation progress to that level? 5 to 1 Indian Dream. XJ Rascal is 13 to 2 Courageous Night. 8 to 1 Scholarship 9s. Kaima 10s. Benacre 10s. Manifested finally runs in a handicap. We wait for this one at 11 to 1. Could be interesting. And it's bigger prices. The rest. Paul Kealy, a 17 runner nursery. What have you got?
Yeah, two that were of interest to me. The first one's Benacre for Charlie and Mark Johnston, winner at Epsom on debut, and then just did too much too soon at Beverley over stiff 7.5 there, and you know, he's quite stiff. He looked like the best horse in the race throughout the race until getting collared, basically. And I thought, you know, dropping back to the bare 7 around here is going to suit him. He's going to suit him very much down to the ground. I think he might be a fair bit better than a mark of 82. And Scholarship for Clive Cox. I thought he was really eye-catching when he won at Haydock on his debut, beating Lakota Blue. And he was, you know, obviously Clive Cox thought the same because he ran him in the Coventry next time. He didn't really show up there, but I'd still be full of hope that he's better than a horse and rated in the 80s.
Okay, there you go. A couple against the field for this 7 furlong nursery. Like I said, I'll have a chance here with Manifest. I say I have a chance. I really fancy this one quite strongly. Running 3 really good novices. Winners have come out left, right, and centre, and I think was facing quite a big task against what looked like a very nice type at Foss last time out. Tom, that Lord Bertie, they backed it off the boards, was keen, seemed to hate every minute of it, and still bolted up. So I think Manifested could be interesting. Do you have any strong opinions?
No, Manifested was on my list. I think he ran in the best maiden of the season, the Sandown Maiden won by Nostrum. I think that is red hot. form. I think the first 3 are probably group horses. He was 4th. He was beaten a long way, obviously. But then he's running in a much lesser race, off a nice mark. So Manifested was definitely one. The other one I like is XJ Rascal for George Bowie. Ran an absolute blinder at Goodwood last time. Missed the break, dropped out last from the widest outside draw. Had to do a lot of running to get involved. Looked like he was going to win up the far rail. Got a nice run up the far rail, and then just got worried out of it close home. So my 2 were XJ Rascal and Manifested.
Okay, XJ Rascal 13-2, and always nice to get the nod of the Segal when you fancy your horse. So Manifested, hopefully run a big race. 5 places, Simon?
Yep, 5 places, not 4. And there's been money for a few things like Indian Dream, XJ Rascal, Courageous Night. There's also been money for a horse called Sunny Orange, last seen when hanging left throughout, when a really well fancied horse at Haydock, trained by Rafe Beck. He was 2-1 favourite that day. He's been gelded since, had the old chop, and the money's come for him tomorrow. I thought I might just take a punt and see if that horse bounces back to form in his new condition.
Yes, yeah, that's one way of putting it. Okay, a few for selections then for this 7 furlong nursery at York. Just reiterate them. Keels.
Yeah, Ben Acre and Scholarship were my 2 against the field.
Lovely. I'll go for Manifested. Tom.
Yeah, Manifested and XJ Rascal as well.
And Simon.
Sunny Orange for me each way.
Lovely stuff. Let's close out then with another fillies race. 7 furlongs again is the distance here. 14 of them run for the finale, and one of the best backed horses probably of the week actually, and one of the most obviously unlucky horses last time out as well at Haydock, where everything went wrong for Queen Aminatu, and no surprise to see it being well back next time out, especially given who trains her. She's 7-4, Mobadra is 4-1, A Day in Asia 15-2, Illustrating is 12s, Truly Acclaimed is 12s, Belosa is 14s, 16 Stunning Beauty and No Nay Nikki, and Bigger Price as the rest. And yeah, I think it would have been long odds on that Queen Aminatu would have been heavily backed next time out, Tom, after an incredibly eye-catching run in what looked a good race at Haydock. Obviously, the problem is when everyone sees it, you don't necessarily want to be backing it.
Yeah, that's the problem, isn't it? New track, never been. Obviously, Haggis horses very good. York, we all know that. Interesting that she ran in a listed race, didn't she? She ran in the listed race at Sandown off a mark of 82. That's very un-William Haggis type thing to do. I know she's owned by the Oppenheimers, and they're probably looking at getting some black type for her at an early stage, but they could have gone to a listed race on the back of a few wins rather than running her off 82. So I thought that was quite interesting. Obviously, she's a massive eye catcher at Haydock last time, clearly the one to beat. But I'm a sucker for a filly on the upgrade and a filly going well. A Day in Asia is in the form of her life. I thought she was really impressive at Ascot last time under Neil Callan. I think the 7 furlongs isn't going to be a problem for her. Obviously, Queen Aminatu could be £15 well in, but I think A Day in Asia is going to run a massive race. She's in great form, and it'd be great for Harry Dunlop in his last year to have another winner.
Yeah, absolutely. She's been hacking up left, right, and centre in races that are working out well. She's up in trip, but yeah, in fantastic nick. She is currently 15-2 shots. So Queen Aminatu, Keels or no?
Yeah, well, everything's been said about her. She's officially £6 well in, isn't she? No, you know, because she's got a mark of 88 now, but it hasn't kicked in for this race. So she's going to be very hard to beat if she takes to York, which you'd expect her to do so. Will I back her? Probably not. I can make a case for a couple of outsiders at big prices for a bit of fun, but nothing serious. Belosa, Jane Chapel-Hyams, she looked really good early last season, and I don't know what was wrong first time up this year. She was only 8-1 to win the Aberdeen, but dropped back to 6 furlongs for the first time in her life. She finished last. She's had wind surgery since and a break. I think she's probably still listed group class. I mean, she's running off a mark of 100. And one that would make me sick if she won would be Improvised, who I managed to get 33-1 about in a handicap, a Royal Ascot handicap, before the draw was made, and she went off 17-2, but was drawn right out in the car park. Got beat 4 lengths off a mark of 84. She's now on a mark of 96, having finished third in another listed race at Chelmsford. She's probably got it to do off 96, but she's going the right way again. And 22-1 is I give her a better chance of some of those ahead of the bag.
Okay, improvise then the 22 to 1 shots at a decent price. Danny Tudhope though prefers Illustrating, who is a little bit shorter and Truly Acclaimed. I thought had a good chance as well. Proper York horse. John Quinn's got his team in great nick, but Queen Aminatu heavily backed Simon and is now at 7 4 shot.
Yeah, I mean she is. She's 7 4. But there's been a lot of money for Isma Badger. The Roger Varian horse is now into 4 to 1. Was 5 to 1 about an hour or so ago. So she's been well backed, bits of money for others. Funnily enough, Improvise, the horse I looked at, was actually second in this race last year as a 3-year-old, rated higher now. She's been running a company and the mark's gone up. But David Amara's won this race 3 times in the last 10 years, and obviously has that second last year with Improvise. So I thought she was decent value each way, and you are getting 4 places, not 3.
Okay, lovely stuff. That's the last race of the day. Then Keels, the last tip of the day.
Yeah, I'd probably have a tiny each way bets on Belosa and Improvise.
Okay, Tom Segal.
A day in Asia for me, Ross.
Lovely stuff, me old China. Simon, what about you?
Yeah, I'm on Improvise each way as well.
Great, and I'll give a Truly Acclaimed at 12 to 1 for the final race tomorrow then. So day 2 of the York Ebor meeting, that's the preview wrapped up. And on paper, it looks a tricky one. I'm getting the feeling from tonight's show that everyone's been scratching around for strong opinions, that the races look good in theory on paper, but maybe we don't necessarily want to take on the favourites. And I'm quite intrigued to see what everyone's going to pull out for their nap here, because I think people might well struggle to find a strong selection, but we'll try it anyway. So what are the naps of day 2 of York? Tom Segal first.
Blue for you in the big mile handicap. I just think he's got everything in his favour.
Lovely stuff. Blue for you then in the Clipper Logistics handicap.
Yeah, I mean, I've just got this feeling that Should Have Been a Ring is just going to hack up in that 19-runner sales race and be a short price. I always feel silly when I go for ones that are that short, because they tend to get beat. But
I think every time you've napped a shorty on here, though, it's won. I don't think you've gone far wrong.
I think just going back to that Ripon run. I mean, like I said, he looked really all over the place, and there's been 4 dual winners have come out of the race since as well. And I just think he's probably a fair bit better than these.
Okay, so Keels is down on one knee for Should Have Been a Ring. I'll go for Manifested in the 7 furlong nursery for the Hannon team. Could well be a good day for them. And Simon Clare, nap on day 2.
I'll round off with a sensible selection, Alpinista in the Yorkshire Oaks.
A sensible selection then from Simon Clare. Thank you, my good man. Everyone else at home, nap is Isla Kai for Devo. John Mullaney says Carsib and bass player each way in the 3 o'clock as well. So thanks for tuning in. We are, of course, back tomorrow and Friday night to preview the last 2 days of the York Ebor meeting. It's been an absolute pleasure tonight, and we will see you for more of the same time tomorrow. Good night, God bless, and sleep well.